This is your fourth season on Yellowstone, which is like an eternity for an actor. From a kind of a 50,000 foot view, what's the experience been like as a whole for you?
You're so right that as an actor and as a sort of artist in general, job security is a real myth. Like a good job for an actor sometimes lasts a week. If you're lucky, it's a month, 6 months. So getting to work on this show for the last 4 years has been just an incredible gift, and I feel so lucky because there's a certain sort of your relationship to a character sometimes can only really deepen with time. Getting to come back to this world and to this character year after year is such a gift, and especially in a world like this, cowboying, ranching, that's a lifelong pursuit. That's a lifelong sort of discipline. And so, not to say that we're anywhere near experts, and guys who have been doing this for 60 years will tell you that they're not experts. But every year we come back to it, we come back to it a little better, a little sharper, and always curious and ready to learn.
Yeah, you just hit on something. You said deepening with time. I can make the case that Jimmy has more character development on this show than anyone else. From meth head to ranch hand to rodeo winner to being injured and now the recovery and now being shipped down from really the only family that you have down at the Four Sixes. What's been the most challenging aspect as an actor for you bringing Jimmy to life?
You're right that he takes one step forward and then he often takes two steps back, So it's been a real he's had moments of victory and moments of failure and shame and loss, especially in the second season, losing his grandfather. In the third season, his sort of journey with the rodeo. It's been a fascinating kind of breadth of experiences to explore. And the real gift of it is getting to learn about sort of all of these different disciplines. When I first started working on Yellowstone, I had never touched a horse in my life. And then over the course of these 4 years, I've gotten to really deep dive into a lot of different worlds, a lot of different specific disciplines that I never would have gotten a chance to learn about otherwise. There's horsemanship, there's riding, there's ranching, that's one thing. And then there's also rodeo is its own very distinct, very specific culture and community. And then from there, the version of that that's up in Montana is very different than cattle ranching in West Texas. Kind of at one of the biggest cattle ranches, biggest oldest cattle ranches in the country. So it's really been an incredible opportunity to not just learn about a breadth of disciplines, but also with a degree of depth in each of them.
Yeah, you just said you had zero horsemanship skills when you started this show. Here we are 4 years later. The training that you've done with the fantastic trainers that Sheridan has put together. Rank your horse skills for me from zero to Jake Ream.
Yeah, the problem is that the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. So anytime I think I'm creeping up towards a 4 or a 5 on that scale, you then learn, oh, nope, I'm still at zero. So I'd still say I'm around a zero, maybe pushing one, especially as it relates to these guys around us. These guys around us are brilliant. And also, we don't really know what we don't know because they take such good care of us. We've ridden exclusively the best horses in the world, surrounded by a team of trained, stunt riders and professionals who insulate us from danger. So if we ever start to get too confident, take away the best horses in the world. Don't surround us with a team of brilliant stunt riders and see how we do.
Hey, what's the most Jefferson thing about the Jimmy character? What personal trait do you bring to Jimmy?
I think curiosity, really. Jimmy and I's backgrounds are very, very different. He had a much harder sort of youth than I did. I was really lucky, incredibly supportive family, incredibly supportive community. But what we share is a curiosity, a sort of willingness to keep learning, and we share, a tenacity to a certain extent. Jimmy's new to the world of ranching and this cowboy stuff, and so am I. And so we're very much at the same part of our journey there. As an actor, you kind of go and you sort of vacation in a lot of other people's lives. You kind of go and be a tourist in a lot of other lives. And all you can do as you sort of, all you can really hope is to come to it with respect, genuine curiosity, and a sort of willingness to work to earn your vacation in somebody else's life.
Yeah, speaking of vacations, Jimmy is now down at the Four Sixes, learning the ways of the Texas Cowboy. Give me a tease, man. What can you tell me about Jimmy's future with the Four Sixes?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew anything about Jimmy's future. I mean, anytime I try to predict what's going to happen next, anytime I try to get ahead of the eight ball and imagine that I know what's best for Jimmy or for the show, Taylor proves me wrong and writes something that I never would have expected that's better than I ever could have imagined. So at this point, I've learned to just put my faith in Taylor Sheridan, and he giveth and he taketh away, and we're all going to find out together just who he giveth what and from whom he taketh away what, you know?
When you fell off the horse at the end of season three, how long before Taylor told you weren't dead?
It doesn't matter how many times you tell an actor they're not dead. I'm never going to feel safe. It's just, our whole career as an actor, our whole career is, rejection, disappointment, failure to a certain extent. And a job like Yellowstone, it's a dream job. It's the best job I've ever had, and I'll never stop being terrified of losing it. So the second I read that in the script, I start calling everybody I know. Nobody picks up. I think a few days later, I probably get a sort of annoyed text from somebody up in the creative team saying, Jeff, relax. You're fine. But no matter how many times they tell me that, it's the best job I've ever had, How could I ever possibly say, oh, okay, no problem?
All these tough guys on set, Cole Hauser, Forey J. Smith, Luke Grimes, you got Costner. Everyone's always asking you who's the toughest. I want to know who's most likely to give you a hug at the end of the day.
They're all very tough, but they're all also very emotionally intelligent. A lot of these guys, yeah, the difference between these guys and their characters is these guys are hard, badass cowboys, but they're also actors, which means they're great listeners. They're very empathetic. They're very sort of kind and generous scene partners. That's what's amazing. I mean, the incredible contradiction of an actor like Cole Hauser, who is such a force of nature. He commands such power. He's such a bull, but he's also an incredibly acute listener who doesn't miss anything and picks up everything in the room and is always tuned in to everybody else. That's the tremendous gift of an actor like Cole or an actor like Luke Grimes or Wes Bentley or Forey J. Smith. We are so lucky to be surrounded by, we've got Kevin Costner. We've got the ultimate sort of movie star at the head of our cast, but we've also got five A-list brilliant actors right behind him who, could and will and have lead their own shows.
Yeah, you just hit on Costner, and for a guy like yourself from Iowa, there's no bigger film for you than Field of Dreams, I would imagine. So here we are 30 something years later. You're on TV's biggest show with Kevin Costner. Put that into a few words for us.
It's incredible. It's the gift of a lifetime. And no matter what happens to Jimmy, maybe Jimmy falls off and doesn't get back up. We don't know what's going to happen to him. No matter what, like the experience of working on this show, the experience of working with Kevin, those are lessons that will stay with me for the rest of my life. To get to even, in the same way that Jimmy's learning how to ride from Rip, learning how to sort of navigate this world, I'm learning how to be an actor. I'm learning how to survive as an actor in a strange place in a new world from the best in the world. From the in the same way we're surrounded by the best horse trainers and stunt performers, we're also surrounded by the best actors in the world. And the incredible gift of these actors, of Kelly Riley, of Cole Hauser, of Wes Bentley, of Luke Grimes, of Kevin Costner, is not just who they are as actors, but it's who they are as people. So I'm also learning from them how to be gracious and kind and generous and sort of those are lessons that'll never leave me. And all you can really do as an actor, there's no such thing as job security. All you can do is take what you can. And what I'm getting here is a master class in acting from some of the best actors in the world.
Yeah, one of my favorite guys on the show is Gator, who, plays your cook, but also he's in charge of craft services on set. I want to know off the top of your head, man, top three things Gator has cooked that just kind of blew you away.
Oh my God. He makes like a jambalaya. I forget what it's called because it's like a New Orleans. Oh, I wish I could remember. Basically, I don't really ask what it is anymore. He hands you something and you hide in the corner like a dog with a bone and eat it. He takes care of us. The hours on a show like Yellowstone can be incredibly punishing. We're in the middle of nowhere. Like often we're in the middle of a field. It's 0 degrees outside. It's 4 in the morning. You're freezing cold. working on a ranch is an incredibly punishing and difficult lifestyle, and so is pretending to work on a ranch sometimes. And Gator just keeps us all going. Gator, like, he can sort of tell when everybody is floundering. He can tell when we're exhausted and worn out, and he always manages to show up and take care of everybody. And the thing that's amazing about Gator is he takes care of everybody. The crew, our crew is huge. Anytime you, as an actor, start complaining, you got to remember that the crew was there before you and they'll be there after you, and everything you're pretending to do, they're doing for real. And Gator keeps that whole machine running. It's incredible.
I saw a great interview you did, and a quote from you. You said people are shaped by their circumstances and their experiences. Give me one or two that shaped you and who you are.
You know, I I think I probably said that in reference to I play a lot of bad guys on TV. I play a lot of guys who don't have the benefit of a lot of support systems as they grow up, who have been turned into bad guys by scarcity or by the need to sort of, have been disenfranchised to the extent that they have to start making evil decisions. And my life has really been characterized by the opposite. I've been just the luckiest guy in the world. My family is incredibly supportive. My friends are incredibly supportive. I've been so lucky to be surrounded by teachers and, educators and mentor figures who have been so kind and generous to me with their time and energy and patience. And that's the same with Yellowstone. Jimmy gets his ass kicked. Jimmy comes from a hard scrabble background, but I, Jefferson, have just been so lucky to be surrounded by such a remarkable support system of incredibly skilled and talented, but also incredibly generous and patient artists. So, I've been shaped by tremendous good fortune and tremendous privilege.